Have you attended a virtual watch party before? Yeah, start the timer. Virtual watch parties.
Oh, yes, Daryl. Virtual watch parties. Oh, I just had one.
You did?
Yes, we had a company movie night. It was a virtual watch party, and we all got popcorn sent to us.
Mm-hmm.
And I have some still sitting here that it'll take me a few days to eat through.
To get through.
Yeah.
They're interesting, aren't they? Like
Mm-hmm.
how we try and use technology to provide that synchronized, unified watching experience.
Well, most services have this capability to kind of watch together. So Disney Plus,
Mm.
Netflix. I mean, I could go on and on. They have this ability to send a link or a code or whatever it is, family, um, to say, "Hey, here, let's watch this together."
Hmm.
I think it's really cool concept to be able to have this experience of this community, this collective experience, but not be in the same place.
Kind of helps. I want to be
Yeah.
able to pause occasionally and just talk about stuff like, "Hey, what'd you think of
Yeah.
that scene?" But most people get annoyed with me when I do that.
Yes. I would get annoyed with you if you did that. Just the same way I would get annoyed if in person you leaned over and said, "Why did she say that? Why are they going here? What are they doing? I'm watching the same movie you are, bub." You know.
Yeah, well, okay, let's have like a little reading circle or a critique or review afterwards.
Yeah, everyone stay in your seats. When the movie ends, we're going to have brainstorming or review sessions, like a book club, but a
Let's
movie
bring up a
club.
whiteboard and we'll go off into
Hmm.
breakout rooms and talk
You're a
about
real
scenes.
fun. You're a real fun date. I'm hearing
Oh,
is this is what I'm gathering.
yeah, totally. Hey, we're at time. Let's roll it. And welcome to the 365 Mrs. Center show where we help you. Is that actually coming through?
Yes.
It is. I was just trying to add sound effects. Where we help you plan for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed. I am Darrell as a service Webster, and he is.
Is that me?
Yeah, he.
Oh,
I mean,
uh, the other person, the only other person in the
the
show.
person
Hi,
to my other side.
I'm Daniel Glenn. So good to be here.
All right, all right. Thank you for tuning in, and it's the weekly show where we do try and go through the messages and keep you informed.
Hmm.
These days, it's a mixed bag, isn't it, Daniel? Like we've been saying over a bit of time that we'll get some messages in big bursts and lots to talk about. Sometimes we then get a burst of updated timelines and things that don't arrive. But I think this week we've got a interesting thing to talk about. How we've got four or so messages in the message center, but some of these things are also coming through in blog posts and not really arriving in the message center.
Yeah, and how does that stick with the plan of trying to communicate and enable change managers and those agents,
Hmm.
you folk that are watching and listening to this podcast? How does that help, and or does it? And then we've got a couple of callbacks that we may get to. So yeah, let's kind of dive into it. I mean, as we start though, we of course need to remember that giving us a thumbs up on the video or on the podcast helps other people find and enjoy the content as well, and to see your comments and chat and everything else. So make sure you give a thumbs up and subscribe so that you can get all of the new episodes. And then, in YouTube, you can hit the bell, and that bell will send you a reminder or an alert when we go live. And we have great
Right?
banter like we did today for
Yeah.
this show. So to get that bell, I need you to twist your nose a little. It's like, like side to side. You just kind of go
Hunt and
and
peck
get
it.
that bow. Yeah.
Right.
But you got to do the sideways nose thing.
Oh, like Bewitched.
Right, exactly. Bewitched. For those people of a certain age, you will know what that means.
Yeah.
Darrell,
Yep.
start us off with pin that chat.
Pin that funky chat message, Darrell.
Please
Yeah.
stop.
No, please stop. All right. Pin a chat message. MC3177664. Of course, talking about Microsoft Teams. We should be showing that message on the screen because that's what the screen is for. Why is this not showing? Oh, I know why. Because you got to turn on like that thing and then that thing, but not that thing. It's this thing. We got there. Sorry, podcast people. Daniel will cut that out, I'm sure. Pin a chat message. It's a Teams feature. It is, well, chat in general is generally thought of as a Teams feature. Where am I going with this? But this feature with pinning chats has been hotly waited for, contested. No, still got the wrong phrases. I find, Daniel, chat to be a little frustrating when we've got a bunch of people talking about all kinds of topics and things, and you need to go back and find something that was important. And this feature allows me to hover over a particular chat, a particular response, something in that chat thread that I can pin, and it'll be at the top for everyone. It is also a feature that anyone can do that if it's a group chat. So we're all on an equal footing, and we can pin one item to the top. And once it is pinned, then if you want to jump back to that response, that reply, that thing that was mentioned in the chat, you click on the bar at the top where the pinned message is, and you will jump to it. It'll do that little fade thing where it's yellow to begin with and the highlight fades away, and you're taken there. Is this a good thing, Daniel? Useful?
I think it is useful. There's gotchas or cons to everything, right? Because it's not a perfect world. This one, the biggest is that it's only a single message within the chat. And remember, this is chat. This is not Teams. We're not talking about channels. We're talking about chat. And able to only do one message, which is great as long as you don't need multiples. Right?
Yeah.
I think one thing you have to remember about Teams, and will this stay the same always? Meaning, will it always only be one? I don't know. But remember, the thing about Teams is it's all about what we're doing now, really, in my mind. And so when we're things like pinning tabs and doing, putting in tabs in chat or in channels, remember those things could be removed and added whenever they need to. This is kind of similar, is whenever you need it and then you need to pin it for the group, then you can do that. Now, might I suggest that things like a live component, a loop, could be a great thing to pin, and so I can have access to that to go back and edit it and update that as a group are chatting about things. So I think that would be a great use of this feature.
On that, Daniel. So that's a good use of it, because you're wanting to go and find that content where you've been discussing and collaborating. But that is also a special kind of chat that's been pinned, a response where it's active and you kind of want to stay there. But as soon as someone drops something else in the reply, chat, up it goes off your screen because it's now been, displaced by a continued conversation.
Indeed.
So, interesting, useful feature for chats. I would say maybe it's probably more useful for channel conversations, if we can. Pin something to the top of a conversation thread in a channel. That would be cool. But we're talking about things that are arriving. We're not Creating a wish list. Oh, okay. Well, let's get back to what this feature is all about. It is going to be rolling out mid-February, soonish. Expect to be complete late February. Um, Daniel, Daniel,
Darrell.
you're going to tell us a bit about Stream.
I am indeed. Microsoft Stream. Comment on a video or audio file in SharePoint and OneDrive. MC317765. And really, this is exactly what it says in the title. Being able to make comments, and it's threaded comments, for videos and audio files. And if you'll remember, the Stream functionality is powering this video and audio experience in SharePoint and OneDrive. So whenever you save a file in SharePoint or OneDrive, then you're getting this experience. So this is going to be rolling out general availability early February, completed in late February. And then for GCC, GCC High, and DoD early March. And then expected to be completed by mid-March. So when you go to a video, you're going to see in the top right corner a comments button. And you'll be able to click that button, make a comment, and others can reply to your comment. So again, you can make threaded comments. So
Was this something you had working on your machine?
indeed. So if we can pop over to my desktop, I will show you.
Sweetly.
So this is, I'm actually on the office.com landing page, right? And I've gone to my content and I've filtered. I knew there was a video called Darrell and Daniel. And so I click on it, takes me to the file. Again, this is in OneDrive, but it could be in SharePoint or wherever, right? So when I go to click and play this, looks like we're having a great time. Here is the comments. And I can click to add a comment and start a conversation here. Say, this is a wonderful video. And add it. So again, it's in the top right for those audio podcast listeners. You're able to create new comments. See, so I can add threads, right? Or I can come and reply to a thread straight away. There's an interesting point in the message that we probably need to, bring back or call to attention to, is that we're adding comments here, and editors, people who have full edit rights to this file, are going to have edit permissions to the comments. Now, does that mean that they're going to have the ability to edit comments or just delete them? Not sure, but see, I, as a person, as an editor, I can come in and actually edit this. So will others be able to edit this? I'm not sure. I haven't tested that yet. I think that would be a bad thing.
Yeah.
I would rather, if they need to, go ahead and delete the message rather than edit it, because then it's editing what I've said and someone else. But yeah.
Well, it is good that it's leveraging features that are just part of the SharePoint experience. One thing I'd hope to see eventually when it's available is you can comment and put a time code in for a certain point in the video. That's something that you can do in classic Stream in the comments, but also within the description, and that will allow you to help people jump to that point where you might be making that comment. So let's see what comes of that eventually. So switching back, thank you for the demo, Daniel.
Yeah, and so that's the only other comment about this message is if you have turned off, which you can do this, if you've disabled comments altogether, and we talked about this when we were talking about comments in files or on files, you could disable it. If you've done that, then this won't be available for videos either, because remember, that stream functionality in SharePoint and OneDrive, it's just treating those as a file, right? We get all the goodness of file management that we get, discovery and all that kind of stuff with videos now, easily, API access, but we also get it's lumped in with those files. So if you've disabled it, then it's going to disable it for this as well. Yep.
Okay.
All right, sir. Let's switch because maybe you want to create a form asking if this is a great idea, and there's going to be millions of people responding. How would you do that, Darrell?
Well, I would leverage a increase in the number of responses I can have to these forms. Allow up to 5 million responses to a form or quiz, and that's MC318990. We were limited to 50,000 responses, but it's been boosted to 5 million. That's quite a boost. You got to wonder too, like, is this preparing for something else? This form's going to be used for something that will require 5 million? Yeah, I wonder. But it's good news that if you're wanting to use forms to go public and make use of responses and get more responses to be able to pull together, then great. There's still the was it Forms Pro and Forms Standard? Those
Yeah,
sort of
Forms
tiers.
Pro is customer voice
Yeah,
as part of Dynamics. Yep.
right. Yeah, so I guess it's a completely different sort of database too for pulling things. It's not just standard forms. But yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. I mean, it's good to see that it will still have all that functionality, but be able to cope with more responses. Forms that exceed 50,000 responses will not have the same functionality online.
Yeah,
Right.
the reporting. You're going
Oh,
to be
right.
able to export the CSV to
Yep.
manipulate that, but you're not going to have that same reporting and such. And you're not going to be able to go through individually, I believe, for the responses. Because now you can go through each individual response and see what
Yeah.
it is. If there's,
I mean, if you want to, But sorry, so that means that you can get 5 million responses, but you can't export them to CSV. You'll be able to look at them differently using.
other way, right? So if you have 2 million responses, you get to export them to CSV and use Excel to
Right.
do whatever.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Goodo. So when do we expect to see that targeted release? Early March, fully rolled out, general availability by April, and government clouds will start to see it beginning in mid-April, and completed by late April. And finishing off our standard messages,
Yes,
we
sir.
have something on.
Available now. New content type hub sync. Site script action. MC319375. So this announcement is all about bringing in an action that you can make as part of your site templates, your SharePoint site templates, that then gives you the ability to sync content types from a content type hub to a specific site. So think about when you're applying a template to a SharePoint site. You can do all sorts of things, right? You can create lists, you can change the look and feel. And this is going to allow you to bring those content types down from a hub so you can even more expand the functionality of your site. So this is going to be available now, as the title tells you now. We've had no pre-notice here, but it is something that I think is progressing the content type hub. We've talked about this a little bit over the course of the show and previous shows. And having this ability, remember, we can apply these site templates to our sites over and over, so we can build out things and being able to, sync these from the content type hub, I think is a great thing to bring that richer experience when we're interacting with data.
Good.
Yep.
Always good to manage it somewhere central too.
Yes.
Yeah.
All
Well,
right.
these next two, Daniel, are
Yes.
not messages in the message center. And that sort
Yes.
of really does bring a point. Let's bring it to a focus before we bring some stuff on screen. Can I have a serious word with the product groups? Not that, I mean, I'm important enough to persuade you, but it would be really good if the message center was used consistently. We do use blog posts to learn more about features, things that are announced. We have events where, of course, you hear that famous phrase of, and I'm happy to announce that starting today. And we all get excited about that. But when something arrives and we don't get to see it in our trusty old place, the message center, to be able to prepare people for change, prevent or fix, and stay informed, I get a little sad. You know, I like to see a blog post, but then also a message that refers back to that, and we, have one place to go. We don't have to search across the multiple silos of blog post platforms and things to find this stuff. So that's not a rant. This is just a little heart to heart, Daniel. It's just a
Heart
appeal.
to heart.
Yeah, heart to heart. An
Okay.
appeal to try and make these announcements by all means, but also if something's available now, that you would tell us about it in the message center.
Please.
Okay, so what are we talking about? Well, it's not necessarily. Let's just flick this on here. Yeah, it's a great little tweet there from Jeff telling us about a couple of blog posts. And they were about the compact chat feature within Teams and the hide my video feature. So Daniel and I are going to talk briefly about those. They're not in the message center, but we'll keep these on screen. Which one were you doing, Daniel? You were doing the public preview.
Hide.
So yeah, I'll start on
You're
this
doing this.
compact chat. So this feature is about trying to make our chat take up less white space or dark space, depending on which mode you're choosing. You can enable it where you're able to change the theme of how you're consuming Teams, whether it be dark, default, high contrast. And you'll have this new, is that zoom in there? Good-o. Comfy or compact? Comfy or compact? Comfy. Compact. Yeah. I'm sure
This
it's,
is supposed to be
all
a
about-
quick mention, Darrell.
Yeah, okay. So, yeah, keeping it quick. Here's your compact.
Yes,
Which,
it is
you know,
compact.
It's compact. Might be a bit hard to read for, if you're an old codger like me.
Maybe.
Maybe. But that is available now to everyone. Maybe we will see a message in the message center. Daniel, what's your one?
Well, I think I want to make a comment, just one small
okay.
comment on that. It is a preference thing. I think some people love the compact or the comfy, versus the standard. It's a preference thing. So some will love it, I think, and some won't, and you get to choose. So that's great. So that was entered into the roadmap like November, but yeah, we never got a message center post on that at all. The next one is hide your own video in Teams meetings. So this one was announced in the message center New Year's Eve, but we really didn't get it was updated. The message was updated, but it wasn't updated with really any more information about rollout or anything like that. But this it's nice to see this blog post about it. So this is being able to hide your own video so that you can see more of the experience, right? You can see other people, you can see what's being shared easier so that you can, if you know what you look like and you don't need to monitor, the view of your background and all that kind of stuff, then you can hide your own video. So it's pretty helpful.
Yep.
So that's in
those
public
of us who
preview.
have a vanity issue. We're
Right.
not ever looking at people in the meeting, but like, how's my hair?
Right. Well, for those that don't use, blur. You might need to monitor and make sure that no one's walking in your background.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. So, yeah, good to see. Good to see the blog posts. Love to see the message center updates. Callbacks. Callbacks. There's a couple of them that we will go over. So I'll keep sharing my screen because this one is about the My Lists entry point when you go to the SharePoint page. So here's my SharePoint Home. See a bunch of news and stuff and frequent sites within my demo tenant, but we're talking about the My List application or button on the SharePoint app bar. Is that what you call it?
Indeed.
Right. So clicking into My Lists, I'm not using lists a lot within this tenant. But at least I do have an active example here. And what you'll see is recent lists that you've been working on and if I've favorited them. And so those lists will build out. Launch that. Well, I already have. So just trust me, that's what happens. And it opens up my list. And there you go. I can see my list. If I favorited it, maybe it's going to turn up in favorites a bit later. But a nice quick way to get to the lists that you're currently working on from the SharePoint page. And Daniel, you're going to show us the next one?
Nope, you are. This is
that's right.
change notification setting from activity feed. We talked about this being able to change and say, I don't want to see messages, alerts, when I get mentioned in a loop or some other type of activity.
Yeah. So rather than having to go into your settings and finding those various things that you want to change, in the moment, when I look and I go, oh, look, I'm just tired of Laura liking all of my posts. I mean, lovely. I feel supported. That's great. But I'm going to turn off all the reactions. I don't want to see reactions at all because I'm a grump. Grr. All right, so it's not going to make her reaction disappear, but from that point on, I won't see notifications of reactions. And this new one, which is really quite a new experience, maybe it's going to get a little overwhelming when you get mentioned within a loop. So let's just jump to that message. Where is this actually happening? Actually, it's right there on screen. So I've been mentioned within a loop. Great, that's good. But if that is something that you don't want to be notified of, turn off live component activity feed. Whoops. Doesn't fit in the box there. Activity feed notifications. I would suggest, much like with this one here, when someone is mentioning you, you can't turn that off because people are trying to get in touch with you, that you probably wouldn't want to turn off the notifications of live components when you're mentioned in a live component. If someone's mentioning you and saying, this is a task for Darrell, or this is something that Darrell's responsible for, or hey, Darrell said this, I would want to know about it. So consider that. But, you see it in action, good to see. Two features that we have talked about in callback. We haven't done that often, Daniel.
No, we haven't, but it's really good. Really good to see.
So that brings us to a close of our list of bits and pieces that we're going to talk about this week in the Message Center show. Make
sure you follow us on socials, though. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We've had the live chat today, but if you're watching this recording, then remember you can leave a comment down, and if you're listening to the podcast, we'd love to get a ping from you. We'd love to hear your feedback. What are your thoughts? And maybe, what is it that you are using the show for? And remember, on all the socials, we are 365 MCS. So Twitter and Facebook and Insta and all the things. So LinkedIn. So come visit and stay a while and leave us some comments.
It just occurred to me to be an interesting segment if we made the time to go and address some of those comments on previous videos live. So one that might be left last week. We often have Crossman who'll jump in and he'll watch our vid a bit later on, so he's got some good stuff to say. Could address that as another way of interacting. Yeah. But yeah, that's it. we thank you for playing. Thank you for showing up. Thank you for chatting live and chatting later. We'll see you again next week. Bye for now.
Bye, everybody.